Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's a pleasure having you on another edition of the Whiteblood Panorama on Whiteblood Multimedia. I'm your host Umar Isa Dandago. In our previous interview with Dr. Yusuf Isiaka Rabiu Gwani Lajin, we had an intense and serious debate and discussion on why Islamic clerics should participate in politics. But in this episode, he's going to prove to us how worthy he is to be at the National Assembly representing Gwani local government area of Kano State. So the questions we're going to be asking are, how is he going to help come up with laws that would tackle the issue of corruption and mismanagement of resources in Nigeria? 2, what are his plans to help lift millions of people out of deep and abject poverty that they have been in for years? 3, and is he going to encourage the system to rule based on Islamic Sharia law or based on this secular Western democratic system? Well, Dr. Yusuf Isiaka Rabiu Gwani Lajin joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for coming back on the show.
Thank you, Omar. I appreciate it.
Well, let's begin in the beginning. You are currently vying for a seat at National Assembly under the platform of People's Redemption Party, the Malam Aminu Kano's PRP, representing or from Gwani local government area here in Kano State. Let me put this question. It's going to be personal but honest. Do you believe, why do you believe you deserve this seat that you are vying for?
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Honestly speaking, I think the people that are there are not doing the right thing. So we need to bring change about. Because what I believe in life is, I don't think anybody should fold their arms and watch things fall out. Because at the end of the day, we are going to regret it, all of us. So when you see something wrong, and you did not do anything to change it or to stop it, you become part of the game. You're actually supporting them. Don't forget, in some institution, what you need to support somebody is just to keep quiet. The support you can give to somebody is just to keep quiet. Like now, if you see armed robbers robbing people on the road, the only support you can give them is to keep quiet. You're helping them. But if you make noise, they don't like that, they'll shoot you. So by keeping quiet, we're actually supporting them, or it's actually a nod to the agreement of what they are doing. So they are not doing the right thing, and I believe we have to change it. That's why I believe we need to come in and make that change happen.
And you believe you are the right person to help make that change?
That's the way I look at it. But if there's anybody that is better than me, I can actually give him chance, because it's not a do or die something. I'm not actually very, very keen to go into this thing, because it's just because I didn't see somebody that I believe can make a change in the process. But if you know somebody that can actually take this burden off me, I will actually go and relax, because politics is a thankless job. They're not going to thank you. They're not going to, at the end of the day, we saw a lot of people that actually went into politics, and at the end of the day, they incurred people race and all those things. So it's actually a bad game, like you said, but it's a must do something. It's a necessary game, because if we don't do anything now, in the next 10, 20 years, we're going to regret the outcome.
Okay. Now tell us, what have motivated you and galvanized you to get involved in politics and to start running for this National Assembly office?
Honestly speaking, it's not actually that something actually galvanized me or something. It's actually a pressure.
Okay. Pressure.
Yes, because I'm not happy with what is happening. I want to save the future of our children. I want to save the future of this country. I'm not happy when a Nigerian person applies for visa to any country in the world. You spend 6 months looking for visas. When somebody from Niger applies, he gets the visa next day. I'm not happy when I see Nigerians leaving their country, running to anywhere in the world, because they don't believe in the leadership of this country. I'm not happy when I see the education and healthcare system, security system crumbling in Nigeria. I'm not happy, because this is the only country we have, and nobody is going to come to change this country for better except us. So it is our job. We have to do it. We should not abdicate from our duty. if we don't do it, the blame is going to fall on us all. That is why I'm into politics, even though it's, like I say, it's not for do or die, but it's a necessary game that we have to play.
You talked about pressure, and in the course of your explanation, I got to understand that it's more of an internal pressure, not an external pressure.
Yes, initially it was external pressure, because I was actually called by one really very somebody that is really revered person in Kano, called me personally that you have to go into politics.
Would you disclose his name?
Yeah, I can tell you. It was Alhaji Bashir Chokwa, the late Alhaji Bashir. He called me personally and he invited me into politics. I told him, I'm not a politician, I'm not happy with the kind these politicians go around. But he said it's a game that you have to play, because if you don't come in, you have to accept the outcome, no matter how it comes. So as we started to discuss with him, he passed away. So I saw it as an agreement, or as a note that I gave him that I'm going to join politics, so I cannot renegade on my promise. That's why I'm doing it. So when I began to actually have discussion and negotiation with people on the politics, I understand that we need to do this thing for good, or I want to say for good or bad. We have to do it for good.
Yeah.
So that's why we're into politics, and we're here to do it, because I'm actually looking for good people like you that have patriotism, that are ready to work and sacrifice for this country, to push them come along with us into politics, because we need as many people as possible to make this change happen.
Okay, you told us that you are vying for a seat at the National Assembly, specifically House of Reps, House of Representatives. But unfortunately, many people here in Nigeria, especially in the northern part of the country, don't know the responsibilities of the National Assembly members. For example, now, is it part of the duties, part of the responsibilities of a member of National Assembly to just be coming to his or her own constituency, giving money to those who elected him, who voted for him, buying motorcycles for them, giving them 10,000 naira, 100,000 naira for so-called capitals to start a business? What exactly are the roles of the National Assembly members?
Initially, or constitutionally, the responsibility of the House of Representative members, their responsibility is to make sure they create, they form laws that will govern the country, and they pass it to the National Assembly. Then it is passed by the president. But then in Nigeria, I have a very special law which gives funds to the National Assembly members. They call it constituency projects. They give you a certain amount of money running into millions to come and execute projects in your constituency. So maybe it is under that constituency project that some members who don't execute the project use the money to bribe people, because I call this what they call empowerment bribe. Because when somebody doesn't get proper education, somebody doesn't have a good healthcare system, you can't give you 100,000. Why don't you go and build a hospital that everybody will enjoy in the constituency? Why don't you go and actually create a borehole that will actually have water for everybody? So honestly speaking, I don't like when it comes to giving people cash. I believe in creating a lasting project that will actually impact positively the people in that constituency. And apart from that, the responsibility of National Assembly members after creating the laws is to make sure things are done properly in the country, because they are there to make noise. When the president does something wrong, you call his attention. If he doesn't do it, you make noise. When the governors are not doing the right thing, you make noise, you know? You're just like a watchdog.
Yeah, you call it making a noise. This sounds kind of negative.
Sorry?
You call it making a noise for the president at the National Assembly and for the governors at the State Assembly. It sounds negative.
It sounds negative, but not necessarily negative. When we say make noise, you raise your voice, call attention, call their attention, all those things. It's just like, it's just their phrases we use to make sure that we are heard.
Okay. But you talked about you personally saying that it's much better and more important to build lasting or structures that would last longer than giving people, as you call it, bribe of 100,000 naira, 50,000 naira. Many people would say no. What is the advantage of building a hospital? As I said, many people know my view. What is the advantage of building a hospital in a community where half or even 1/3 don't have the means of getting money? Where would they get the money to buy paracetamol and other tabs that they would be prescribed by the doctors at that
For your
hospital?
information, the system we're trying to bring about will make sure people get free medication. People are not going to buy medicines. We are going to give them free medication. Initially, I was actually running for a state governor.
Okay.
Yes, because that is where we can actually have a maximum impact on the lives of people.
Okay.
But for some reasons, I believe because of lack of experience, I'm not going to run it just because I want to run. I want to make difference. I want to make people feel the positive impact of my government.
Yeah.
So I need to acquire as much as possible the experience, the know-how, the intrigues of how to run those offices. That's why I decided to go step by step.
Okay.
Now I'll go to the National Assembly, look at the system, what is wrong there, then be watching the governorship seats, all those things to make sure I acquire the experience. Because I'm not running just because I want to run. I'm not running just because I don't have a job. I'm not running because I want to, brag about the office
So you're not going to be you're not going to be like, how can I put it, Nigerian Donald Trump, who just went straight to the Oval Office, the White House, as the US president without having to occupy even an office of a counselor.
That's why he failed. Look at the way he failed badly, because he didn't have the required experience to run that office. He would have run that country aground.
But he claimed to turn the economy of the US around.
It is not only
for better.
The economy can be good for some times, but really last, you have to have, a system that is based on solid foundation. Just like what we call it, stock markets. It's actually rally in the morning, people make money and then lose money in the evening.
And it's too risky if that is the case.
Yes, so I believe that is the scenario in the case of
Donald Trump. Okay, personally, let's assume that on the 29th of May 2023, you take the swearing in, you take the oath, and you get into the office, you start working as a member of member of House of Representatives representing Gwani local government. What would you, as Dr. Yusuf Isiakarabi, do for the people of Gwani local government?
Yes.
What are your plans for them?
Okay, I actually have plans and blueprints on how to turn around the fortune of Gwani local government. First and foremost, I want to make sure the governments and with the constituency project we have, I want to make sure we create as many job opportunities as possible. We want to make sure people get jobs, because that will actually solve a lot of our problems.
Jobs at the national, federal level or state level or what?
Local government level. We make sure we get job opportunities for people.
Civil service?
Not really. Government cannot employ everybody. You have to know that.
That's what we want you to clarify for the people. Yeah, because they may think that you're going to be giving offers.
We're not going to create an enabling environment where people can create fortune for themselves. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say you have a local government and you have like 10 wards in that local government. There is no single house that does not generate waste. At the end of the day, even if it's a cover of Maggi, you generate waste, and somebody has to clear it out.
So you're doing advert for the company, Maggi, as you said.
So okay, you make
seasoning. Oh, that's cool. Let's hope they can, because of what you have said, sponsor the program. That's fine.
Call them out.
Okay.
Maybe let's delete them because they might not contribute. Anyway.
Okay, fine.
Everybody is generating waste, no matter how little or big it is. Even if it's a cover of a seasoning, something, or pure water bag or something. So why don't you register a company for the use of that local government, whereby you buy an office, you rent an office for them, you have a computer for them, they're going to register each and every house. And then each and every house, at the end of the month, you have to pay a certain amount of money to this company for clearing their waste. These people will create job opportunities. They have their what do you call it, their crane or whatever to clear the waste out of the local government, and they will be collecting money. Then they will pay themselves, they pay for the rent, and they pay some money to the local government. That is good. This is good and win for everybody, for the local government, for the youth themselves, for the household because their waste is being cleared by the local people. You do the same thing for security outfits. You actually invite those what we call thugs and give them opportunity, give them office to serve as actually security guards for the local government. Then you put a certain little amount of charge for each house that will be paid at the end of the month. So these people will be employed. You're not paying them any money, it is the people that will pay them. So they get money for themselves, they pay their rent, they buy the necessary things they need. At the end of the month, they pay some money to the local government. So it's a win-win for everybody.
It doesn't sound easy for the members of the community to be paying money to those who are going to protect them, while it's the job of the government to provide security.
When the government fails to do its job, at the end of the day, look at the situation. Some people have been kidnapped for how many months? Nobody goes to take them back. So when somebody burgled your house, nobody is going to pay you back. So it's better to pay a token to security guards when the government fails to do its job.
But why not, as the representative of the local government at the National Assembly, push for people that would help them, push for or get some money, since you know that is
some money
for this to pay for the security of your local government?
We already have police.
Okay.
We have other security outfits. But do you know the number of police we have in Nigeria?
How many? Tell us.
You could be surprised that the number of police we have is less than 500,000.
Oh my God.
To actually police about 180 million people. Each policeman is supposed to police maybe 20,000 people.
20,000 people.
For each one policeman.
Wow, this is huge.
So we cannot ask the government to actually guard people, because people have to take care of themselves. They have to actually provide security guard for themselves. So nobody is going to complain for just paying 100, maybe 100 naira, 500, 1,000 in a month for the boys that would have been the thugs or the people that will rob your house. So if you employ them, you give them this token, they'll be serving you as security guards. So it's a win-win for everybody.
So you, as the member of National Assembly, let's put it this way: how would you help in making sure that this goes on smoothly and the members of the community get it right?
We're going to be actually engaging people, because I'm not going to be a member that will be sitting in Abuja, in the National Assembly, buy their house in Abuja, spend like 2 months, 3 months without coming to your constituency.
And then at the end of the year, you go to the US
exactly
for your
So I'm not going to be that kind of member.
Okay.
What I'm going to do, I'll be always with my constituency and I'm working with them, and I'm going to be engaging them on this kind of projects, how we're going to put our heads together, come up with new ideas. If we have challenges, hurdles on the way, we look for solutions together, I'm working for people, so you don't expect me to run away from them. So it's not going to be my only idea. A lot of people, you can be surprised when government brings people together. A lot of ideas will come up. But when you don't shy away, when you run away from people, you leave them with their problems, you don't solve them. So you have to engage them. It will help a lot.
Yeah, there is one thing that a lot of people have been complaining about, which I believe you are aware of: the salary that the members of the National Assembly are earning, are getting. Just the salary, it's a huge amount of money, and that's why they're saying that it should be reduced. When you get there, or before you even get there, do you think that the salary that the members of the National Assembly are getting is so huge that it even goes beyond their needs and what they can do with it?
I think all those kind of issues needs to be addressed. That's why I told you the budget of National Assembly is not for public consumption. It's shrouded in secrecy. This is actually published in all the print media and in the online media. So if they're earning, I don't actually know how much they're earning, but I heard that some people are earning more than enough, and they're just for their personal upkeep. So what I'm saying is, we're going to look into all these things. We're going to advise the National Assembly leadership to look into this issue, because a lot of people are suffering in this country. So when you're cornering a fortune for the country that was supposed to go into water system, healthcare system, for personally, it's really bad. That is not even what is actually disturbing about the National Assembly. The National Assembly itself is not free from the shackles of the government. Ordinarily, when they are going to vote, they're supposed to have a button in front of them. Who supports you press yes. If you don't, you press no. But the situation now, is whereby when they have a bill and they want to pass it, they say those who support it say yay, those who don't say nay. So people say, hey, they need have it without actually taking the numbers. Do you know why they're doing this? Because they know the government might not always get what they want if people press secretly. Because you just see the number on top of the screen
without knowing the person that pressed
yes. Actually press it. But now, if the government supports yes and you say no, they are going to report you to the president. So that guy is going against the government, is going anti-party. Okay. So they themselves they are not democrats.
So what an irony. They're not democratic.
Exactly. Well, so I want to promote this kind of change, that the National Assembly should give people free hands to say yes or no without actually detecting what you said to be used against you.
And
it's really bad.
Would you also advocate for the reduction of the salaries for the National Assembly members?
I'm actually going to do that, because what I believe is, even though I don't know what is it exactly, I'm not quite aware of the.
You need to find out.
Yes, because to find out, but that is not my priority when they're angry, because I'm not going there for that.
Okay.
So if I realize that there's need to curtail it, to reduce it, I will actually go for that. Don't mind. Don't forget, I cannot do it alone. So I'm going to look for a formidable team in the National Assembly with like-minded people that will come together and actually push for a common front. Because you cannot do it alone. Because you have like 360, I think, people in the House of Representatives. So you alone cannot make any difference. 1 tree cannot make a bush. So I'm going to look for a collective people that will push a common front for the ideas that we think will help us as a country.
You are an economist and a businessman. You did your degree in Medina. This is purely Islamic, and then you went to the UK and got your master's degree, something related to business and economics. You also went to Ghana, I believe, and got your PhD. You have a business oriented background, and you know a lot about the economics and the economy as well. How do you help deal with corruption, which is said to have been entrenched in the system of Nigeria and has been bedeviling the nation for an extended period of time? What do you have? What plans do you have to help curb, if not wipe corruption from the face of the nation?
I have a serious concern for it, and I have some blueprints with which I'm going to provide to the National Assembly leadership to put it, make it a law. For instance, I'm thinking if the government will make it a law that you are free to record your discussion with any government officials. If you're going to discuss with the accountant of the government or the National Assembly, whoever are going to have this, or police or office, anybody in the country, it is not a crime to record him.
I mean, audio recording,
or video, whatever, without his knowledge or with his knowledge. Because you can use that as an evidence in the court, and that will reduce corruption to the minimum. Why? Because if they know they are going to be recorded, a lot of evil activities will not take place.
But it's a violation of their privacy to record them secretly.
As a government, as a public officer, I don't have privacy in the office. Yes.
So
if you're in your house, and I come to your house and I record you, then it's your privacy. But when you're in the public office and you're dealing with government papers, dealing with government work, you don't have any privacy there. It's not a secret. It's a public work. So the government should make it a law that will allow people to record their discussions with government officials, to be used against them. That will make people stand on their toes to make sure they do the right thing. Like police officer now, if they take somebody to station and they know that guy is recording them because he's free to record,
they wouldn't do as they are said to be doing, as they are said to have been doing.
That's that. Secondly, after pushing for free recording for all government officials,
including you,
including myself, including the president, governor, everybody. Secondly, I'm thinking of another policy that will actually help reduce corruption. I actually watched a clip recently on Singapore government system. Singapore is one of the countries with least corruption in the world.
The Lee Kuan Yew's country.
Yes. They are one of the least countries with corruption in the world. How did they do it?
Okay.
The guy said what we did is we did not actually bother to actually disturb ourselves with ordinary people in the government offices. We dealt with government hierarchy officials, the ministers, directors, executive directors in the government companies and parastatals, the ministers, the PAs of the governors. They say we dealt with them.
How did they deal with them? By killing them, executing them?
If you caught any of them involved in corruption, you send them to prison once the case is established against them in the court. So if you are dealing with big people, the lower strata will actually be cautious to be engaged in these corrupt activities. But when you are dealing with a policeman that is collecting just 20 naira, maybe somebody in the Ministry of Land that is just collecting 10,000, look at that guy in minister that is collecting about billions that will actually impact the lives of many people, and you're letting him go free. It's very unfortunate that throughout the history of Fourth Republic, from 1999 up to date 2022, only 2 governors went into jail, and they were pardoned. Wow! Look at it. All these, corrupt practices that we want to earn us one of the biggest, highest countries with corruption in the world. No governor went to jail except these 2. After very long litigation that lasted for more than 10 years, the court was able to actually incriminate them, was able to convict them and send them to jail. And then after maybe some working against corruption, we are working for corrupt people. We are encouraging corruption.
Do you believe there is any connection whatsoever between poverty and corruption? If yes, what are the connections? If no, then how is it?
It depends what kind of poverty you're talking about. When there's poverty, people tend to do a lot of things that are not good. But with the corruption we're talking about here, we're talking of corruption in the government offices in Abuja, in the state governments, not even in the local government.
Okay.
Now, these days, local government don't even get funds. They just got their salaries and that's it. They don't get any funds. So we're talking of corruption in the state government houses, in the presidency, in the National Assembly. So that corruption is not caused by poverty.
Yeah.
So there is no connection whatsoever between poverty and corruption. Look at Nigeria now. Nigeria is a very poor country, and they are least corrupt in Nigeria. So I don't believe that there is poverty.
Very serious
relation between corruption and poverty. All we need to do is to make sure we do the right things, we put the right people in the right place. Because no matter how good policies you have, how good system you have, if we don't have good people that will put it into implementation, you are wasting your time.
I don't know, you talked about education, and you and I believe that education is the backbone of any society. The US has been what it is because of education. Japan in the Far East has been what it is because of their sophisticated educational system. Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt, all those countries that are prospering in different continents, on different continents around the world, have become what they are because of education. But it's a totally different story here in Nigeria. What would you say?
It's even worse than what you think. It's not that education is not progressing in Nigeria. We are going through what they call brain drain.
Wow. What is that?
Brain drain is when you have people that are educated in your country, by the money of your country, they don't serve you, they live for another country. As I'm talking to you now, we have more than 5,000 doctors of Nigeria in the United States.
And they're doing well.
They're doing well, and they're helping their society. Here,
but they're getting money, sending it back to their parents and their relatives.
But then we need them more in medical center, like the money they're sending.
And it seems like they are also uplifting the good image of Nigeria as good doctors from Nigeria.
Nigeria needs their service. This is the service to Nigeria, because when your country needs you, you go to another country, you render the same services. I would call it lack of patriotism to them, but they don't have option, they don't have choice, because the corruption is too much in Nigeria. They don't get paid, just like you mentioned, or even if they get paid, they don't get what they deserve. And even if they don't get that, there's no security, blah blah, all those problems. So we're not even talking about education, we're even talking about brain drain. The little ones we have, they're leaving the country. Same thing with lawyers, same thing with pilots, something with scholars. Every aspect of education, we're going through brain drain in Nigeria.
So who is to blame?
The government. The government.
At the federal level or state level?
All the levels.
Okay.
All the levels, because there's no environment. When there's insecurity, nobody. You yourself, very soon, if things do not improve for better, me and you will be complaining. We're not going to run, inshallah. We're going to stay in Nigeria and make things work and help fix the problem. But those people, they are lazy ones that are left. So we have to stick behind.
What would you
make sure we put things in order?
What would you say about this lengthy ASU strike that has been, causing different problems to me, myself, and my friends, and other people,
and my children.
Your children, of course, who are at university. What would you do when you got to the National Assembly as the member in order to help end this strike, such kinds of strikes?
I think we have to do as much as we can, but I personally will make sure we call the attention of the National Assembly leadership to arrange or to actually supervise a meeting between the federal government and ASU to strike a balance between the two. Because honestly, I believe the government carries no burden. Its government is at the wrong side of the negotiation. Because ASU is just one fraction of government staff and workers. And because of the role they play in the society, education is the most important institution in any country in the world. So if the government cannot put education system in a good shape, then there's a problem. So I believe the government should do its best. The National Assembly should actually call for a meeting, supervise the meeting between the federal government and ASU, and make sure they provide all the necessary parameters, all the necessary support that the government and ASU needs to make sure things are back into the stream.
What would you say? What would you say? Is ASU right and the federal government wrong, or what?
I wouldn't say that, but what I believe is, if there is crisis in any house, we tend to blame the head of the family.
And in this case, who is the head?
The government.
Okay.
So ASU is directly answerable to the federal government. They are under them. So the government should be able to tame them. The government should be able to make sure they are back to their offices.
By giving them the amount of money they are looking for?
If the amount of money is their right, let the government give them. Because these people, don't forget, they're educated people. They are seeing the money the ministers, the directors, the PAMSEC, the presidency, the governors are taking. They are reading newspapers every day. Some of them are part of the government, so they know the kind of money the government is getting. So when you chop and you don't need to chop like Nigerians, that's a problem.
And finally, before we go, some of the politicians had to pass through the university before they go.
Exactly. There is no reason whatsoever why the government should shut down the universities. It's not done anywhere in the world. Education should occupy the most important position in the government policies. But unfortunately, it's a different story in Nigeria. I'm not happy at all with this situation. It makes me cry. It actually bleeds my heart. It's really a bad omen for the country.
Yes.
When the institution, the education institution are shut down without reason, it's really bad. Well, the government is not sensitive to the people's plight. It's not actually sensitive to our future. They don't really care about our future. You cannot shut down education institutions. It's really bad.
And let's hope when you get to that arena, you make a difference. Finally, before I let you go, what would you say about the program and about the channel?
The program is really good. I like it and I appreciate it, and I hope it will serve its purpose of enlightening people, because we need enlightenment more than anything in this country. People are really busy looking for fools, calling on themselves to get water, blah blah blah. But let's make them understand that they have to fight for their rights. Nobody gives you a right free of charge. So they have to elect good people that will actually fight for their rights. They need to elect people that when they go to the government, will tell people of government, fear God. People do not eat in this country. People don't have medicine. People don't have road. People have been, I was starving every day. So we need those people in the government system. So people should be enlightened to elect good people. And anybody that comes and give you money to elect for him, to vote for him, you have to make sure where is he getting that money from? Where did he get the money from? Who is he? What is he going to do? What has been his, background, his, biography? Because you don't just vote for anybody just because he gave you money. You cannot sell your future, the future of your children, just for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 naira. So
we have to end it there. Thank you so very much, Dr. Yusuf Isiaq Arabi, popularly known as Gwani Lajin, for gracing the program. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Madam. I appreciate it.
Well, that's the end of the program. On behalf of everyone that has contributed to the program and to the development of the show, especially the big boss, Zainab Abdurrahman Mayagogo, I'm Umar Isa Dandugo saying goodbye and have a wonderful week ahead.